Hey everybody, it's GombletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we'll be doing the Midweek Magic event for the week. This week's event is a Phantom Bot Draft of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. So Phantom Drafts are drafts where you don't keep any of the cards that you play, but Midweek Magic events are all free. So this is just a great way to get some practice in with the format for free, so you can get a little bit of experience in before you hop into a Premier Draft or a Sealed or anything. And it's a really great way to do that because with the bot draft format, you're drafting against exclusively bots, which means there's no time restriction on the picks during the draft. So you have as much time as you need to read through all the cards, get a good feel for everything in there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the free draft. Very excited about this, because I'm all about drafting all day long. And of course, in the free draft, we'll get a really cool mythic rare that would be nice to add to the collection in the Phantom draft. But still, a really cool card, definitely going to be a powerful card in Limited 2. Kaito Shizuki is a blue-black ninja's tribal card. A planeswalker that starts with 3 loyalty. If he entered the battlefield this turn, then he phases out at your end step, meaning your opponent doesn't get to attack him the turn after you play him, or target him with any removal. And then you get to spit out an Unblockable Ninja as a -2 ability. The general play pattern is to spit out the ninja, and then after that start using the +1, because the +1 lets you draw a card, then discard a card if you didn't attack. So if you get the ninja out first and then start using the +1 ability, you can just consistently draw a card without having to discard with Kaito. So quite a solid card draw engine. Worst case scenario, kind of a 3-mana 1/1 unblockable, which is a little expensive, but a pretty decent card for a ninja's deck for sure.
There are many secrets I don't know, but not for long.
So in pack 2 here, we have a pretty good follow-up to Kaito Shizuki, another card that's going to work great for a blue-black ninjas deck, the Okiba Reckoner Raid. This is great because it costs only 1 mana to drain your opponent for 2 life and spit out a 2/2 menace. Granted, it is a saga, so it doesn't do that all immediately turn 1, but it's still a really good deal. And any kind of evasive creatures, any creatures that are hard to block, such as menace creatures, are going to be good in the blue-black color pair. So I'm pretty happy to just scoop up an Okiba Reckoner Raid here over not a ton else for blue-black. Again, I am getting like pretty tied into the blue-black mythic rare here, just because I'm excited about the card. If we were trying to draft like as competitively as possible, we're probably supposed to take like Blossom Prancer here, and then we just have to deal with the fact that we're not going to play with every single card that we've drafted, because Blossom Prancer I think is going to be the strongest card in this pack. 5 mana for a 4/4 reach. You draw a creature out of the top 5 cards of your library, or an enchantment when it enters the battlefield, and if you don't draw one, you get to gain 4 life anyway. So 5 mana for a 4/4 reach that draws you like a spell, not just a card, is a really, really good deal. So Blossom Prancer I think is the best card in this pack, but I'm not going to go green, blue, and black, so I'd like to just kind of just play the Kaito Shizuki deck here. The worst case scenario that we have during this draft is that we end up with a medium blue-black ninjas deck because we get cut off of it, but we still have, you know, a bomb in there for sure. And the way these midweek Magic events work is you get to play as much as you want. You get a reward for your first 3 wins, but I could I could lose 50 games in a row before I get my 3 wins, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. So going to just stick to Kaito here so we can play a pretty cool, pretty fun deck. And here we're going to take Twisted Embrace, an excellent removal spell in the colors. The only downside to this is if your opponent has instant speed removal, they get to counter this entirely, which can really wreck you. Try to use this on your creature, they respond with removal. They've now killed your creature and countered your removal spell. But other than that, quite an efficient card. Now we have Tamiyo's Completion, another great removal spell. Don't love Guardians of Boro, especially in the ninjas deck. You want a lot of cheap creatures that can attack in. So Chainflail, Centipede, or Tamiyo's Completion it is, and I'm just going to take the completion here. I really like Dockside Chef in black, red, and black, white. Black, blue, it's probably a little weaker, but it's still a really good card. That being said, it's competing with Okiba Reckoner Raid here, which is another really good card that also just works super well in ninjas. Yeah, that's a really hard competition there, Okiba Reckoner Raid or Dockside Chef. I'm gonna take the Dockside Chef. I just really, really like this card. If you have the mana up whenever your opponent is gonna kill your creature with removal, or whenever you chump block with a creature, you're just getting to draw a card on top of that which is just putting you up a card for free essentially in those positions. It's obviously best again in like the black-red decks that have a lot of expendable creatures that they already want to sacrifice, so that way you get to use it just whenever you want rather than in very specific situations, but it's still a great card for any deck, I'd say. Alright. Here we have a nice dual land. Not a dual land, but a mana fixing land for sure. Choose whatever color you need when you play this, and it'll tap for that color the next turn. It's that or the Modern Age, which is definitely a good card. 2 mana for a Saga that will draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, then spit out a 2/3 flyer. Again, it's a Saga, so it only does one of those things per turn. But when you add up all that value, it's a pretty good deal. And a 2/3 flyer on turn 4 is still pretty impactful. So I think I like the Modern Age here. Definitely don't love Short Circuit. We're going to have much better removal in blue-black. We already do. Don't love Planar Incision or Guardians of Aboro or Return to Action because they're all just pretty specific, pretty narrow cards. Alright, we'll pick up another copy of the Modern Age here then. And a third copy of the Modern Age, I suppose. We could take that or Goshintai of Hidden Cruelty, which would be cool. But this card only really pops off if you have multiple shrines. There are some good 1-toughness creatures in the format, but I don't know, it's kind of expensive to get out and start using the ability. You only really need to kill 1 card off of the end step trigger for this to be a really good deal, though. Because just a 2/2 Death Toucher will kill whatever their biggest attacker is, if it doesn't have Flying or Menace or anything like that. Yeah, maybe it's supposed to be the Goshintai here. It just feels like a lot of mana commitment for what will probably try to be an aggressive deck. I don't know. I'm gonna take the Modern Age. Just have like a full play set of that card if we can. This pack has pretty much nothing for us. Technically, Kaito's Pursuit gives your ninjas and rogues menace, but the discard 2 is going to be a bad top deck in the late game. This does balance that out by if you have a bunch of ninjas and rogues on board, then this card still does something if you top deck it when your opponent's out of cards. So, I don't know. Another just kind of medium mind rot effect there. Just take like a brute suit though or something, some kind of decent vehicle. Not a huge fan of any of those cards except the Steelbreaker, and we're seeing another Steelbreaker nice and late here. But I think I'll take 1 Return to Action. Return to Action and Planar Incision are very similar. They're just like narrow ways to save your creature from a removal spell. Your opponent tries to remove your creature, and then you'll just exile it, put it back on the board, get its Enter the Battlefield effect again. Your creature's going to trade in combat or is getting threatened by a removal spell. Well, then bring it back from the graveyard and get its Enter the Battlefield effect again. Incredibly similar cards here. I'll take the Return to Action because I think the lifelink's going to be pretty huge when you're racing your opponent. I like Experimental Synthesizer best out of this pack, followed by like Coiling Stalker, but Suit Up is probably a decent combat trick here, and I've pretty much already committed to just completely forcing blue-black, so we'll take a Suit Up here, I guess. Even though it is definitely weaker than the other cards. I think Harmonious Emergence is a lot better than people give it credit for, especially the bots, because this is a bot draft here, so the bots didn't want this card. This is essentially a 5-mana 4/5 Vigilance Haste, which is a pretty dang good deal. The problem with it is that if your opponent has removal that will bounce a creature or exile a creature, you get hosed. Because if they bounce your land, then now you're down a land, you have to just replay it as land for turn next turn. And if they exile it, then you're just down a land forever. But if it's just getting into combat, if it's just getting destroyed by a removal spell, that's all well and good. Harmonious Emergence will make sure nothing wrong happens. If any of those things happen, it'll just be it'll just turn back into a regular land. Alright, I'm happy to take Searchlight Companion here. This card's decent with ninjutsu abilities. Ninjutsu makes it so you return an unblocked creature you control to your hand to slam down the ninjutsu card instead, so any creatures that have evasion like this does are good, and any creatures that have Enter the Battlefield effects like this does are good. So the fact that this has 2 makes it a pretty nice pickup here. And I don't think that I want to play Planar Incision because I'm already potentially playing Return to Action, and these are the kind of effects you really don't want to shove too many of them in your deck, because you're going to end up with hands with like 2 copies of these and just only 1 or 2 creatures, and that'll never pan out particularly well. So now, kind of like Lethal Exploit here, we already have triple the Modern Age, so I don't think I need to take another one this early. So I like Lethal Exploit, nice cheap little removal spell here. We're not going to have a lot of modified creatures, but still 2 mana for -2/-2 is pretty fine. So I like Lethal Exploit here. Now we have another Okiba Reckoner Raid, pretty happy to scoop that up. It's between that and a little counterspell, potential menace creature. That's about it. Most of these cards are pretty narrow. Happy to take another Reckoner Raid. Okay, so here is where we finally get the choice between some good ninjutsu cards, and I think both are pretty spectacular. We have Moonsnare Specialist, 4 mana for a 2/2 that bounces a creature to its owner's hand when it enters the battlefield, or you can ninjutsu it out for 3. Or there's Dokuchi Silencer, which is a 2 mana 2/1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can discard a creature card to destroy a creature or planeswalker that they control. This is a really good combo with any mediocre creatures early game because you can ninjutsu it out for 2. So if we attacked with we actually don't really have any cheap mediocre creatures, but if we attacked with like a Dockside Chef and they didn't block because they didn't want to trade it with their 3/1 or something, it'd be a really weird case scenario. So, but if that happened, we could ninjutsu, pick up the Dockside Chef, then discard that Dockside Chef to still just kill whatever they didn't want to block with. So pretty interesting card there, pretty nice. Moonsnare Specialist, it's a lot easier for it to put in work, like it's always just going to be good. The Silencer is better in specific situations. I think they're both pretty comparable because Silencer is also a lot cheaper. But I'm actually just going to go for Specialist. It just feels less narrow to me. Just always great. Ooh, and here's another card that's always great. Life of Toshiro Umezawa is just one of the best cards in the set. I think it's the best black uncommon. Just an incredibly versatile saga. If you can kill a single 1/1 creature off of the -1/-1 ability, you're just straight in the value, but otherwise, lots of flexible ways to use this card, getting in more damage with +2/+2, gaining life with 2 life, and no matter what, you're getting a 2/3 at the end of it for 2 mana, which is a very good deal. Very, very solid deal. So we do have Mirror Shell Crab here, which is nice because it is a counter spell that turns into a win condition when you flood out of it, get to 7 lands. But there's also just Virus Beetle here, which is a great card to bring back to hand with ninjutsu stuff. So I like that a lot. I also love the Uncharted Haven for some mana fixing, so these 3 picks are all excellent, and I'd be happy to take any of them. Kind of like just going really low curve here, just going wildly aggressive, because that's just, it's in my blood, it's just who I am on the inside. Take another Virus Beetle here, or an Armguard Familiar. Both of these would be pretty great. Armguard Familiar is nice because it's your 2 mana 2/1 on curve to get attacking with and trading off with whatever they have. But if you make it to the late game and you've got nothing else to do, this gives you a really good way to spend your mana when you're flooding out. Now you can make any of your creatures +2/+1 and ward 2 to make sure they're big enough to stay relevant in combat by the time your green opponents are playing 5/5s and stuff. Well, now you can slap this on one of your 3/3s or something. So yeah, I guess just to stay a little flexible, we'll take Armguard Familiar over the Virus Beetle. A little bit more variety there. Like the Moonfolk Puzzlemaker, really annoying to attack into, just really big and it's flying to block with, and it's quite a good ability while it becomes tapped, setting up your future draws, and of course, evasion is helpful for any ninjutsu combos we're trying to go with, and even if we don't have a lot of ninjutsu cards, any evasive creatures that we have also combo well with Kaito, because they help trigger the ability to draw a card every turn without having to discard. So 2 really, really nice cards here. We have Mukatai Ambusher, which is a great ninjutsu card if you can get it out early. And then there's also Thirst for Knowledge, which is just a great draw spell in this format because there's so many artifacts. So 3 mana instant speed, draw 3, then discard 2. That's already fine. Or draw 3, then discard 1 artifact. So we currently already have like 3 or 4 artifacts. We have 5 artifacts already. I think Thirst for Knowledge should be quite a solid draw spell for us. So I'm going to scoop that up here. And now, our 4th copy of the Modern Age. Just the full playset. Could also take a Cyber Trespasser's a bit slow, but a good channel ability. Moonsnare Prototype. Yeah, pretty medium channel ability, and it doesn't do much on the board. Take the Modern Age here. The Moonsnare Prototype looks like fine, but more excited about just having a full playset of the Modern Age. That just seems dumb to me. Ooh, Undercity Scoundrel is actually a very good combo with Dockside Chef, and it's a pretty annoying blocker no matter what. This card has its home in the black-red decks that have a lot of ways to sacrifice artifacts, because then producing those treasure tokens is incredibly valuable. But even with just the one way, the Dockside Chef, those treasure tokens are just going to come in super clutch if we ever get those cards together. And the worst case scenario is that it's just a really annoying creature for our opponent to try to attack into. Big old 1/4. Not going to play any of these cards. We wield a Mirror Shell Crab, so I guess we get to have that in here as well. Super happy to have that, because even if we want to be a super aggressive deck with a low curve, we can treat that as a 3-mana counterspell. We just have that backup plan if we're flooding out. So pretty nice there. Probably not going to end up playing this Futurist Sentinel. It's just not really for our kind of deck. And we've got a really nice way, or a really nice card to open up here in the last pack, kind of the ninjutsu rare Satoru Umezawa, 1 a blue and a black for a 2/4. Whenever you activate a ninjutsu ability, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 into hand, the rest on bottom. Already exceptional in our color pair. And that's going to make us want to take ninjutsu cards highly, but it also just makes it so every single creature card in your hand has ninjutsu for only 4 mana. So yeah, very happy to just slam a Satoru Umezawa here. The ninjutsu build around card, so if we get more ninjutsu cards, that ninjutsu out for cheap, we can just keep drawing cards off of it, and if we get any really big cards, we can try to ninjutsu them out early. I don't know what this is, but it's a blue-black legendary human ninja, so it's probably incredible. She's Kotose the Silent Spider. When she enters the battlefield, exile target card other than a basic land from an opponent's graveyard. Search their graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name and exile them. Then that player shuffles. For as long as you control her, you may play one of the exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. Oh, that's really good. So 5 mana 4/4, and you draw the best card in their graveyard into your hand, essentially. Yeah, the only way that she doesn't pan out is if they kill her before you have the mana to cast whatever you stole from their graveyard. And if they do that, she still accomplished a good thing. You know, she like 1-for-1 traded for a good removal spell, got that out of the way. Yeah, seems excellent. I will absolutely scoop up the Silent Spider here. Another Okiba Reckoner raid to get aggressive, or another Dockside Chef. We've got that 1 Undercity Scoundrel, but again, no other great ways to use it. I think, again, it's super good in black-red, as is Dragon Spark Reactor. This card's absurd. If you're a red at all, if you're a red deck, period, Dragon Spark Reactor is going to be great to pick it up pack 1 or pack 2, because there are tons of aggressive red artifacts, and Dragon Spark Reactor will go off really fast. It'll get a ton of charge counters, it'll do a bunch of damage to your opponent and one of their creatures when you sacrifice it. It's a win condition in the right decks. So if you see this like pack 1, pack 2, and you're red, scoop it up immediately. If you see it in pack 3 and you already have a good amount of red artifacts, then yeah, I'd still pick it up. But sometimes a pack 3 Dragon Spark Reactor, even if you're in red, isn't going to pan out, because sometimes you're just like red, green, or red, white, and all of your white cards or green cards are enchantments, and then you're just like, well, I missed the boat there. But generally, see a Dragon Spark Reactor early in red, you take it, you go for artifacts. But yeah, we missed the boat here. We're completely blue-black. I'm just going to take another Reckoner raid. I like the idea of just having a pile of Reckoner raids and getting on the board super just aggressive. Super, super quick here. Being really annoying. So the Covert Technician's a really absurd combo with our Virus Beetles. That's the best thing you can do with this card, and the worst case scenario is that it's a 3-mana 2/4. And it does have a nice cheap ninjutsu cost to combo with Satoru Umezawa and let us draw some cards. It's also an artifact to help with our cards that care about having artifacts on board, or artifacts in deck like Thirst for Knowledge. So I like Covert Technician here. Again, magical Christmas land as we attack with a Virus Beetle, and they don't block because they have a 2/1, a 3/1, or no creatures out. And then we just ninjutsu a Covert Technician, slap them for 2, and recast the Virus Beetle, make them discard another card immediately. Super, super good. If we're lucky and that scenario happens. So we have another Armguard Familiar, or we have an Undercity Scrounger, or we could take a Reckoner's Bargain. We don't have a lot of card draw in here, just a Thirst for Knowledge. But we already have a Dockside Chef for sacrificing things and drawing cards, so I don't think I'm on Reckoner's Bargain here. Kind of want to take another Undercity Scrounger to make the Dockside Chef active more often, and to just be an annoying blocker. So we can sit behind this while we attack with our more evasive creatures, like our Flyers and our Menace creatures, our quadruple Modern Age or triple Okiba Reckoner raid. Yeah, kind of down for that. There's a big booty blocker that sometimes works well with Dockside Chef. And alright, here's another big booty blocker. Moonfolk Puzzlemaker. Sometimes just attacks as an evasive threat. Alright, here's a great ninjutsu card. Dokuchi's Shadow Walker. Ninjutsu's for only 4 mana for a 5/5, so it just bashes your opponent for 5 on turn 4, which is really good. Maybe we should take mana fixing, but mana fixing's for cowards. Oh, we're waiting on the bots to draft. Oh no. Waiting for other players to pass a draft pack in a bot draft. What is going on? Alright, we have had a pack passed to us now, and it's not good for our deck. So we're probably just going to pass it right on by. Another Tamiyo's Completion or Dismal Backwater. I think at this point I might take the mana fixing. Oh, can't I move my deck around? Oh, because I'm in the middle of a draft. I'm not in deck building. I can move it over here, but that's about it. Let's see. We do have Lethal Exploits, Life of Toshiro Umezawa, Tamiyo's Completion, Twisted Embrace. I think I would like another Tamiyo's Completion. Sorry, Dismal Backwater, but I said it earlier in this draft. Mana fixings for cowards today. I'll just deal with never casting my spells. So we're not going to have anything good to combo with our Satoru Umezawa, with its ability to cheat things into play early. That's just not going to happen. Papercraft Decoy is cute with ninjas, because you get to draw the card when it leaves the battlefield for any reason, not just when it dies. So if you ninjutsu it back to hand, it's pretty cool. It's also absolutely adorable. But Essence Capture would be solid too. I'll go with the Papercraft Decoy. Not much of a counterspell player myself. At least not often. We've got quite a bit of deck building to do here. We have an absolutely loaded deck. Alright. Well, not a single non-creature that I think I want to cut. That being said, we have a lot of our creatures are sagas. So we're going to look like a really low creature count when they start cutting creatures. Dockside Chef is good, but it looks a little weird here. Armguard Familiar feels a little slow here. Virus Beetle and Papercraft Decoy are both really fun combos with Covert Technician, but not super great outside of that. We probably really need these, because we have no other creatures that are going to be ready to attack on turn 3 to actually ninjutsu anything out, so I feel like we really need some 1/2 mana cards that are actually creatures and not just sagas. So maybe I should even cut some Modern Ages to throw like Armguard Familiars or Dockside Chef back in. I'll cut one Modern Age and put Dockside Chef back in, because the worst case scenario is we actually get to attack with this while we're waiting on our sagas to flip, which helps with the ninjutsu cards. Scrounger's mainly in here for Dockside Chef. I feel like Moonfolk Puzzlemaker is going to be better in most circumstances, because they're very, very similar cards. This one, we get to scry one for value a lot. Undercity Scrounger, we get to get a treasure for value sometimes. And both are just annoying 1/4 blockers, but this one's in the sky. So I think I prefer Puzzlemaker here in this deck, because we just don't have a lot of ways to want to sacrifice stuff. We're going to be ninjutsuing that. We're going to be... We'll actually probably just hard cast this a lot. And we'll probably be cycling that. So that's 4 cuts, and we still need to cut 3 more. We do have a lot of 1 and 2 mana creatures, so Lethal Exploit, we're not going to be casting that turn 2. It's kind of like a later removal spell, because we're going to be spending all of our early game mana on all these sagas. Just dumping all these on the board, getting great value out of them. So I might even want to cut Lethal Exploit, because by the time I'm casting removal, I can just cast better removal. Even though there's only 3 of them, that's hopefully enough, especially when it's backed up by a bounce spell like Moonsnare Specialist, a counter spell like Mirror Shell Crab, an occasional removal spell, Life of Toshiro Umezawa, occasionally getting rid of a 1 toughness creature. I'll get rid of the double exploit, and then maybe a land here, because that's basically a 4-drop 2, and then the curve ends at 5. Potentially. We also have 3 ways on turn 2 to start drawing discarding, which could be like, you know, draw a card, discard our highest mana cost card to keep the land that we draw into. That can help out with hitting the lands we need. Thirst for Knowledge can as well, but we really need to make it to the third mana, and Thirst for Knowledge doesn't help hit the third mana because it costs 3. It does help hit the fourth though, and the fourth mana is pretty important too, because that's where all of our removal is now. I think we can cut a land here for sure. We can go 16. We have 14 blue cards, 11 black cards. But triple Okiba Reckoner Raid turn 1, really want to hit the black source turn 1. We really want to hit double black on turn 4. We don't have any double blue cards except a 7 mana crab, so by the time we have 7, we're incredibly likely to have 2 islands, even if we have an even split, so we'll go down to an even split to make it more likely we hit the swamps in the early game when we need them, even if we have slightly less black cards than blue cards. And yeah, I think that'll be the deck. Wow, we got Satoru Umezawa, Kotose the Silent Spider, and Kaito Shizuki. Are those all 3 of the blue-black rares in the set? I feel like the set isn't that multicolored. There's probably not like 4 blue-black rares. This is probably every single gold rare in our color pair. So yeah, I guess we're just loaded today. Alright, this looks like a pretty fun deck, and I'm excited to play out our matches with it. Alright, here we are in game 1. A little bit of an awkward keep, but I'm still just going to slam down a couple Modern Ages, get some Vector Gliders down, start hitting my opponent with Isosceles Triangles. We're hoping that the Modern Ages draw us into the black source for the Shadow Walker to get ninjutsu'd out. But other than that, looks pretty solid. And if we just naturally draw the swamp, that will help too. So our opponent's on red-black, probably my favorite color pair in the format. I just love slamming down a bunch of little artifact and creatures and stuff. And that's a color pair that lets you slam down a bunch of little artifact creatures, sacrifice them for good value. Alright, Hidetsugu Consumes All does not do much. By turn 3, it's going to be a 3/3 trample that keeps getting bigger. That'll be scary. What do we want to discard here? I have so many cheap cards in hand, I kind of want to just discard the Shadow Walker because it's pretty expensive compared to everything else, and we'll just keep dumping stuff out here. We'll just use these Modern Ages to just draw through our whole deck while we sit here and slam down a bunch of 1/2 mana cards, just flood them out here. Yeah, like just keep discarding lands, keep discarding cards that cost 4 or more, and dump out everything that costs less. See, again, Hidetsugu Consumes All. It is going to be a big scary trampler, but by the time that happens, we can just put it right back into their hand. Though I guess the downside of that is if I put it back in their hand, they can destroy all the 1 mana cards again and kill my Okiba Reckoner Raid. But they can't kill my Vector Gliders with it, so it's not that bad of a deal. I actually want this land now because I want to play the Moonsnare Specialist, so I might discard a 1 mana card because... yeah, I'm going to discard another Reckoner Raid because now I am probably just going to bounce Hidetsugu Consumes All in a moment. So I don't want to let them kill more of my cards by destroying all of the cards with mana value 1 or less. So this turn, though, we'll play Papercraft Decoy and Life of Toshiro Umezawa. We will kill their 2 mana card because their 1 mana card would die to Hidetsugu. Yeah, and then next turn we'll go for the bounce on Hidetsugu with our Moonsnare Specialist. Man, it's kind of wild how many things are happening because we just have so many sagas on the board so early because they're all cheap. Oh, there's the silent spider there. I guess we might as well kill the Moth Rider Patrol. Just in case we don't want to bounce the Vessel of the All-Consuming, which could happen if we hit another land here. Oh yeah, we're not drawing a card, we're not hitting another land. Yeah, I'll go for it. I'll let them recast the Vessel and kill our Nozumi Road Captain, because it'll slow them down a lot and we get to get more damage in. Do have to worry about this big 2/4 Moth coming out sometime soon, but we should be able to outrace it. Should definitely be able to outrace them as a whole here. We have just so many creatures out. We're hitting for a lot of damage here, a lot of damage next turn. We can even draw an extra card here with the Covert Technician on the Papercraft Decoy combo, which is super nice. We pick it up, which means we pay 2 to draw a card, then we hit our opponent for 2 to put a 2-mana artifact from our hand into play. The Papercraft Decoy comes right back out. And the ninjutsu combo is just popping off like a well-oiled machine. Our opponent's down to 6, facing a bunch of 2-power creatures. They have to be able to block all but 3 of them, or all but 2 of them to survive. And they can't, so that's lethal on board. We'll just send it. And that is game 1. A victory for the very aggressive, very cheap blue-black ninjas, blue-black sagas deck. Oh, we got a Blightstep Pathway as our random rare reward here, which is super nice. Incredibly useful rare to open up. Very happy to see that. So while we may not be keeping our 3 ninja rares, we will be keeping a Blightstep Pathway out of this, which is very nice. This hand is definitely more awkward than the first one. The first one, we didn't have the black mana for the black cards we had in hand, but we did have cheaper blue cards than this. I think I'm going to mulligan this one because we don't do anything till turn 3. Although our opponent's on the play, we're on the draw here. If we top deck Swamp turn 1, this hand's really good because we just slam down Reckoner Raids, but I'm not going to take the... Not going to take that chance here. We'll just mulligan and make sure we have good stuff, and I'll definitely keep this. I think I get rid of Mirror Shell Crab. I think I'd rather have the Aura removal than the Counterspell removal, but I definitely need to keep the lands and all the 1 and 2 mana cards. The Modern Age is coming up. Another game of just slamming down these super cheap auras. This draft is definitely going to show off just the power of these cheap auras, that they look really slow. Like, everybody knows, like, if you add all the abilities together, you know, good value for the mana by the time they all go off. But they just look quite slow. So this is the kind of deck that's really going to show off. Yeah, as slow as they look, they're still just like, you're putting so much on the board so fast. So I'm playing Virus Beetle this turn, which is a little counterintuitive, because ideally you want to get your sagas out as quickly as possible to get their abilities to start popping off and flipping them into creatures as quickly as possible. But the reason I'm doing it is because the way that my land draws have worked out here is that I can't play Virus Beetle and Reckoner Raid turn 3, but I can play the Modern Age and Reckoner Raid turn 3. So this way I'm getting to double cast, just dump out more cards as a whole next turn. Really don't love their double striker here, especially with this Katana. That can be a 4-power double striker, so we really want to hit the land for Tamiyo's completion. So we probably play the Modern Age first, hope to draw land, discard Searchlight Companion here. We'll discard one of these Reckoner Raids then instead if we're not going to land yet. Hope to hit that land next turn. We've got 2 draws to do it. We draw on our draw step and we draw from our saga. So if there's a land in our top 2 cards, that is going to get slammed down on this massive double striker. I'm going to actually go ahead and cash in my Virus Beetle, sacrifice a Virus Beetle, gain 8 life. Seems probably worth it here. Alright, cool. We did draw the land. Let's see what we draw off the Modern Age as well. Papercraft Decoy. I think I'd rather discard that than the Companion. Let's wait until they go to combat, because they might, like, slam an aura onto that thing. Try to get super aggro. They probably won't. I guess the downside to this is there is 1 card in the set. There's a card in green that can give hexproof till end of turn. Alright, nice. It works out, because they are going to put another +1/+1 counter onto it. Whereas if I tapped it down during my turn, they might have just decided to cast another creature, so they're still attacking us here. Well, still having some amount of power on the board. Not exactly attacking us. Green White's not going to have haste, but you get the idea. If we use the removal spell, then they'd know they need to put more onto the board to make sure they still have pressure. I think I'd rather play the Modern Age than the Searchlight Companion here. Just, again, because it gets us digging through our deck and gets us closer to cards that we can just close the game out with. But again, like, they arrest the Vector Glider here, but just look at the value of these Nezumi Road Captains here. It's like turn 5, turn 6 now, but still these 2/2 menaces just matter so much They just slam in for 4 here. I'm going to keep this land in hand because of the amount of cards like the Modern Age I have in this deck to draw and discard. I only have 1 more copy, technically, but we'll see. The Fall of Lord Konda does not really work against our deck, so it's just going to give them a 1-3 in the end. We'll take 4. We'll still be at 20 after that. Life of Toshiro Umezawa. Pretty spectacular here. It doesn't find immediate lethal, but it really pushes in for damage. Because we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can do 7 damage, or we can threaten in with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We threaten to deal 8 and force them to trade off the Kitsune. Not really worried about them trading with the Kitsune, so let's just get in 2 more damage. Like, I don't feel like I'm in a position where I need to kill that double striker. So I'll just get the guaranteed damage in, hitting in the sky. Looks like a top deck of a land from our opponent. That will be another just quick victory from the cheap, just powerful sagas that we have in blue-black here. Double Road Captain, double Vector Glider. Here's a Life of Toshiro Uezawa as well. Blue-black sagas. And that is 2-0 now, and we only need 3 wins to get all of the prizes. I wonder if we'll get to cast... I wonder if we'll get to cast any of our cool rares, but if I just sit here casting the really efficient common sagas, that's cool too, and that also probably is like a better reference point for what the general drafts of the format are going to be like than if I just slam down 3 bomb rares every game. You know, there's less to learn from that than seeing the common cards in action. So it's cool that we drew all our commons and uncommons that are powerful instead. So we get to show off the cards that you get to pick and draft a lot more often. So you know, yeah, these cards slap. These cards are quite good in a deck like this. So here we are now, game 3, which could just be a real quick, event altogether. This could just be the final game. This is the slowest hand that we've had, but I do like it a lot because of Thirst for Knowledge and stuff. And all right, 3-0, there we go. Our opponent is over it. Maybe they kept a 2-lander, drew their card, and then didn't hit the 3rd land or something. But that'll happen in Midweek Magic events. Again, they're completely free, and it doesn't matter how many times you lose. So really no downside to just early conceding there. So we'll see what our cosmetic prize is, but I am going to play until I get another win because I want to earn all 3 wins on the video here at least. So we'll see what our cosmetic reward is. Unfortunately, just a Parallax card style. I would literally rather not own this style than own it. So I hate when I win Parallax card styles. I would love to get anything else because I don't enjoy the card styles and they automatically equip them. I've tried the setting thing that says like turn off card styles and it doesn't do anything for me for some reason. So bit of a rough reward there, but either way, our first 2 rewards were pretty great, so it'll balance out. So we've got a pretty exceptional hand here. This Virus Beetle potentially getting picked up by the Covert Technician for that combo again. We saw the combo happen with our Papergraph Decoy. We could see it again with a Virus Beetle, which is pretty much just as good. The Papercraft Decoy combo is like, you draw a card, get your 2-1 back down. The Virus Beetle combo is you make your opponent discard another card. So they'll have discarded 2 cards total. So we'll try for it here. Drop the Virus Beetle. Opponent looks to be playing a very similar deck to us. They start with the Modern Age turn 2. So if they just played like another Saga turn 3, just another copy of the Modern Age or an Okiba Reckoner Raid or something, then Virus Beetle may well get in for a ninjutsu attack. And if it does, we even have the mana to play the ninjutsu cost on Technician plus play a 1-drop here from Reckoner Raid. So that's, again, another one of those things that makes the Reckoner Raid really nice. Of course, there's Life of Toshiro Umezawa from our opponent, which is also incredibly good, as we've seen from our own copy. But yeah, what I was going to say is the other thing that makes the Reckoner Raid so nice is the fact that on a turn 3 like this, you can play a 2-drop and the 1-drop. So it's not like just great on turn 1, it's great turn 3, turn 4, anything like that. I'm going to cast Covert Technician here. I don't want to cast Kaito Shizuki just to draw cards and discard cards, and I do not want to make a 1-1 unblockable right now when they have a way to give it -1/-1 until end of turn. So I do not want to cast Kaito whatsoever currently. Undercity Scrounger from our opponent. We could attack in here. If they block with the Scrounger, then we just bounce off each other. If they block with Vector Glider, then we play Life of Toshiro Umezawa post-combat to kill it. I don't think they have a reason to block with Vector Glider instead of Scrounger, though, so we should probably just pre-combat the Life of Toshiro Umezawa if that's what I want to play, so we can just make Technician 4 power. And that also might be threatening enough that they want to block it, because if they don't, I could potentially put a 4 mana cost artifact for my hand into play for free. I'm not going to do that because I don't have one, but our opponent doesn't know that. So you never know. They might want to chump. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. The threat of dropping down a big artifact there going to get our opponent to chump block with the 1/4. Happy to see it. Because it was a bluff. I mean, it wasn't a big bluff, because the worst case scenario is we deal 4 to our opponent, which is fine. It's just like we weren't gonna do something massively insane. So Vector Gliders coming on in. Getting bounced back to hand by the Moon Circuit hackers, so they get to draw a card and then recast the saga, get all the abilities out of it again. One of the great things you can do with Ninjutsu, picking up these early sagas that give you good value to recast them. I had a real great time with our last Blue-Black Ninjas deck that I drafted. I think it was on stream, where I had Life of Toshiro Umezawa and I got to Ninjutsu it back to hand, which was just absurd. So do I want to kill... I think I definitely want to kill Containment Construct, right? Yeah. If I don't kill Containment Construct, then they get to play like Modern Age, draw and discard, and whatever card they discard, they just like discard a land, and then play that as their land per turn. So they turn the Modern Age into just straight up draw a card. They don't even have to discard on the 2 abilities, so we really need to kill that Construct. Just combos really well with the stuff that we're doing in Blue-Black. So... I would have loved to see a Containment Construct. Would have been a cool card to pick up for us. So what do we do here? We can play Kaito. Can't draw the card off Kaito without attacking in and then just not having blockers to save Kaito. I guess we could just make the unblockable creature. Then we have a 1/1 to block there, a 2/4 to block there. Yeah. They have to use a removal spell to kill Kaito here. Otherwise, we trade our 1/1 into their 2/1 and block their 2/3 with a 2/4. Oh yeah, I have always... Oh my god, I forgot about Kaito's static ability. One of the few planeswalkers with just a insane static ability. They can't even threaten to attack Kaito this turn, because Kaito's phased out of existence. See, I didn't even need to worry about them potentially having removal. We get a turn out of Kaito no matter what, so maybe it would have been better to play Kaito earlier, because that was my main concern earlier, is they could always just attack Kaito immediately. Get him off the board. But I suppose that was never an option. Oh, this is really the mirror match. The multiple Modern Ages, the Toshiro Umezawa, Ninjutsu cards to go along with all of them. Alright, so now we just have a million blockers because our sagas are flipped. We've got Tamio's Completion at instant speed if we need it. We definitely just draw the card and then start drawing an extra card each turn off Kaito and hoping to outvalue our opponent that way. But our opponent has a lot of great value as well. They have lots of great sagas just like we do that are giving them a lot of value. The Modern Ages to draw discard. Trade their lands off for better spells, or trade their spells that aren't good right now for better spells. Go Shintai of Lost Wisdom. Don't really like that card in general. It just mills your opponent really, really slowly, although it is a solid blocker. And this is a game where I'm drawing 2 cards a turn, so it could definitely matter. Because we've got Kaito on the board to draw 2 per turn. Plus I'm going to cast a Thirst for Knowledge here. But I should absolutely find a way to kill our opponent before that mills us out, even if we're drawing 2 cards per turn, plus like 3 off Thirst for Knowledge, and maybe even more off Dockside Chef. Oh yeah, double Modern Age. We're drawing a ton of cards off those too. So we're going to fly through our deck real quickly. We're going to mill ourselves much more than our opponent is. They're milling us 1 per turn. We're milling like 5. Because I just drew 3. Draw another here. I think this is our only good attack still. I think I want to play 2 copies of the Modern Age. Oh, I should have drawn the card first so I had more options of what to discard here. Rather discard the Puzzle Maker than another Modern Age. Let's draw the card now. Moonsnare Specialist, that's pretty sweet. But I don't want to cast it right now. It's going to be really good to potentially ninjutsu. Just play the Modern Age again. I can't resist. I just can't resist. I'm sorry. It's not the right play. We're definitely supposed to hold on to Moonsnare Specialist because it's a great card, but just cast 3 the Modern Age in 1 turn. Honestly, if I rebuilt this deck after playing with these cards, I might run 4 copies of the Modern Age. Like, why not? I guess the reason why not is we're about to mill ourselves real fast. 3 Modern Age is basically just mill 3. Although we get to keep the best card out of the 3 that we're milling. Alright, double Tamiyo's completion. I mean, don't mind if I do. So, they have flyers now to attack Kaito, but they can't attack Kaito for lethal if I Tamiyo's completion one of the flyers. So Kaito will be fine. Just keep hitting for 1 for now. We're down to 12 cards in our library. I'm going to get 3 flyers next turn, though. So I think we just start Tamiyo's completioning their flyers and then attacking with a bunch of flyers. How many times shall we say flyers in 1 turn? Ooh! Kotose the Silent Sniper. If I cast her, I can't protect Kaito. So I'll just wait. I'll just wait on her. Protect Kaito for now. And we're just going to plan on having just a ton of evasive creatures. We completion a glider here, completion a glider next turn. Now we're attacking with an unblockable creature and 3/2/3 flyers each turn. They can only block 1. Start using Kaito to make ninjas as soon as Kaito has the loyalty to do that. Which is not right now. Because right now Kaito is going to be 2 loyalty if they attack. Yeah. So then if I minus Kaito, Kaito is gone. Pretty great card there, the Specialist. Bounce one of our creatures. I might even just sacrifice whatever they target and draw a card. Actually, no, they should probably just target the unblockable creature. Yeah, they just kill it. Since they're going to kill it anyway, we'll draw the card. Honestly, I've already got the 3 wins. If I manage to mill myself out, I'll just take that as an achievement. Achievement get.
Would have had me if I wasn't so fast.
Milled our Papercraft decoy now. Here's 3/2/3 flyers. Ba-dum, ba-dum. Ba-dum. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. There we go. We could tap down the Goshentai of Lost Wisdom, shut off its ability to mill us, so we're less worried about that, and then they have no flyers left. They can recast the Modern Age, but it doesn't turn into a flyer for like 3 turns. So yeah, and now we just start hitting for 6 a turn, just in the sky here. I guess we don't do it right now if these are all summoning 6 still. But for the future, we are prepared. Sack Kaito. We'll draw, discard. We've got a land. Satoru Umezawa. I do not want to activate ninjutsu abilities when I have Satoru Umezawa on board, but I'm still going to cast Satoru Umezawa. I don't want to draw any more cards, Satoru. I'm down to 7. Another one. That's rude. They're legendary, so they just get to sack the first one. Just be like, aha! You've activated my trap card. I wanted that to die. Alright, Arm Guard Familiar, they can suit up that Goshintai. they have anything in their grave to kill that card? They don't have any removal in their grave. I guess they have Awakened Awareness. That makes it a 1/1 though. Doesn't kill it. But that only gets to block once, meaningfully. So that's pretty good. We have the mana for that. Spend mana as though it's mana of any color. So we just do double blue. Turn the Goshentai into a 1/1. Seems good to me. And check out what's in their library. They've got another in their library. Nice. Oh, they have a Kaito also. Got a Kaito of their own. All right. The Kaito Wars. Yeah, the fact that I got 2 of these off of this is excellent. That was lucky. Get an unblockable 1/1 here. And now we got to start chipping in and killing them before they mill us. Down to 5 cards. But they're down to 11. I think it should very well be possible here. Goshentai of Hidden Cruelty can kill one of our 2 toughness creatures. Can't kill our Vector Gliders. They have 3 toughness, but it can kill our 1/1 unblockable. So they've got 2 shrines out. They could also choose to mill us 2 instead. Rather mill us 2 or kill a card. They're going to mill us 2. Down to 3 cards in library. Double Reckoner Raid's pretty good here. Oh yeah, we're down to 2 cards in library, so we have to kill them this turn or we lose. Don't give me the preemptive GG. Enhanced Awareness actually might be lethal. Right? Because we can make a creature really big. Oh, we could only cast 1 copy, could we? You would play 1 of the exiled cards. Okay, we can only cast 1 copy, so I guess that is GG. But we get to attack all here and see what happens. Opponent doesn't know what's in our hand, so if they go to 2 life, we still get them here. Or if we kill Goshentai, if either of those things happen, then we win. So even just threatening them with enough where they have to block with the Goshentai of Lost Wisdom gets us there. I was 100% cool with the potential milling ourselves out as like an achievement get thing against the Goshentai, but now that our opponent preemptive GG'd, I really want to kill them. Not IRL, in-game. In-game, I want to beat them in-game. And we did it! I'm not gonna oops. I'm not gonna oops. That's a little extra. I'm just responding to their GG. I'm replying. They said good game, so I'm saying good game back. 3-0 officially with the blue-black ninjas deck there. Super sweet stuff. We got to play all our rares in that game because we got to draw basically our whole library. So yeah, that was a pretty great Phantom bot draft. Definitely, if you haven't done it yet yourself, the event is up for 2 days, so absolutely hop in, get some free practice in, or just draft some wild nonsense, because you're not going to keep any of the cards, and it's completely free, and it doesn't matter how many times you lose, so even if you're a competitive drafter, just hop in and then draft some absolute nonsense pile, just because it would be fun. Even if you'd be like worried usually of wasting the gems in a normal draft, well, there's no wasting anything here. It's a nice Phantom free draft for everybody. Super cool time, super fun time. And yeah, I absolutely recommend it to everybody. Just hop in and try it out. Just like the constructed events where they let you play with any cards no matter what's in your collection during Midweek Magic. So again, highly recommend the Midweek Magic events. They're pretty much always pretty cool. But the Phantom drafts and the Build Anything constructed events are always the absolute best. But that is going to end today's video. I'll go ahead and pull up the deck list if you want to take another look at it. But it was super sweet. Absolutely love these cheap sagas, bonkers cards, the Reckoner Raids and Modern Ages. But yeah, that is going to end today's video. As always, if you enjoy these videos, you want to see some more Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Limited, some more Historic Brawl, or more Magic Arena in general, just stick around on the channel. You can like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like the YouTube algorithm to send you some more of these videos, or you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, where I have been streaming occasionally, just trying to hit Mythic for the month to get into next month's little draft invitational thingamabob. So, once again, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.